Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Human Reconnect. We've got another episode lined up for you guys. Last week's challenge was to just basically participate in a summer activity and enjoy it and report back, see how you felt after doing that. So I can go first, but
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So my connection challenge that I did was we went to Freedom Fest. And basically it's this fireworks show that gets put on every year around the 4th of July. They usually do it, I think, like the weekend before, just to kind of avoid like I think overlaps with other festivals and celebrations. But that's always a lot of fun. They had a ton of food trucks. They have snow cones. So I'm a sucker for snow cones. And I was like, all right, I'm going. So we went with some friends, which was a lot of fun. And then, of course, my husband and brother were there with me as well. So, yeah. And they had a cool fireworks show and had a slight malfunction, but it was still very worth it and still just a lot of fun to get out and walk around and got to people watch. I don't know that I necessarily connected with anybody like outside my bubble, but it was very interesting to people watch, which I love. Like it's just an activity that I enjoy. Is people watching.
It's a good time.
It is. So that was my activity, and obviously I love being outside, so I got to enjoy it and just soaked up all the time outdoor and got to watch some cool fireworks, which I'm a big fan of.
Ooh, I was going to ask if you're like a fireworks person.
Oh yeah,
You are.
yeah.
Okay.
Every year we would ball out for 4th of July fireworks wise, and usually we'd have 1 or 2 catastrophes with each, so that's always fun.
Is that like when the firework knocks over?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because my dad would
scary.
buy like the big mortars and they'd launch at us, and we'd be running away like what is that saying? Scattered. Is it scattered like mice or scattered like?
I want to say roaches, but I don't know if that's actually the saying.
Yeah, okay.
But that's where my head goes.
Roaches, yeah. Something like that. So anyway, scattered like roaches, but that's always fun. Yeah.
Yes, when you're lighting stuff on fire, there's always room for
Yeah.
catastrophe.
Yes. Fun ones though.
Fun
for the
ones.
most part.
Memorable ones.
Yes. Maybe memorable is a better word.
Memorable is probably a good word, right?
Yeah.
What snow cone flavor do you guys choose?
Literally anything that tickles my fancy at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not like this is what I get every single time.
Okay.
I just tried flavors.
Yeah.
So I really love sour snow cones. Have you guys ever been to Pelican Snow Cones?
I love that place.
Okay.
So good.
Do you get marshmallow?
No, is it good?
You have to get marshmallow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Have you tried the marshmallow?
No, I normally get the like vanilla. I think it's like a wedding cake flavor.
Yep,
and it's
me too, with marshmallow on top.
Okay, I've
Oh.
not
You
done
have to
that.
get marshmallow on top.
Okay.
That's like a big
I'm very
Maryland.
serious about that too.
Yes. It's a big thing in Maryland,
Okay.
and they call them snowballs. And then they put marshmallow on top of the snowballs. And that's just like,
Sounds really good.
and I've only had it in Maryland. And then when I found out that they did it at Pelicans, I was hyped.
Okay.
So you have to try.
Alright.
You just have to
Is
try
it
it.
like the
There's one
marshmallow
more.
fluff or is it a marshmallow syrup?
No, like a fluff. Like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yes.
combo of the texture.
Alright.
it's
Okay.
really good.
I bet that is good.
Okay.
If you like a creamy, like, because I
Yes.
think even with the sour, it would be good still.
Uh-huh.
But if you like the wedding cake, you'll like the marshmallow. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that. Almost reminds you of like snow cream. Like when you make
yes,
snow
yes,
cream.
exactly.
Oh, okay.
That's
Perfect.
a
Then,
good
yeah. Yep,
comparison.
I do like that.
If you like that like creamy taste, I think
Okay.
you'll like it.
Okay.
It's
I'll have to
yummy.
try that. Yeah. I didn't.
I very much enjoy it.
All right. Yeah. See, I
Yeah.
usually get like I think it's called Shark Attack, and they sprayed the sour stuff in it.
Yeah,
'cause I'm
like a small
sour
child.
person.
The shark coming on.
Yes. If that's how you want to label me, sure. I am.
Yes,
a
I think it's
child,
on
so
the
I guess
kids
it makes
menu.
sense.
It is.
It does.
It's on the kids menu.
No, it's one of their featured flavors. All right, next challenge. I'm gonna lose this fight. I'm a child. Go ahead.
Shark attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you. Do you want to go next?
I really wanted to swim, and I didn't swim. And I was like super hyped. I was like, oh, this challenge will make me go swimming finally. Because I really wanted to go to Iams and swim in the quarry. But I didn't. And I was supposed to go on a hike where we were going to swim in a waterfall, and that didn't happen. It got rescheduled. So I went to the park with my dogs, and it was just me and the girls. And it hasn't been me and the girls going to the park in a very long time. And where we walk, it's all shaded, like in the woods.
Fun.
And it's amazing. I think that's my most summery thing I've done. But I need to be in the sun soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in your defense, it was like a crappy weekend. Like it was raining on again,
Yeah,
off
it was
again,
really
on
weird
again,
weather-wise. Yeah.
and like pretty intense rain too.
Yeah.
So it will warm up this week, and then it will be nice to go swimming.
Warm up. It's gonna be roasting.
Yeah. Well, the water. Sorry, the water will warm
yes.
up. Yeah, and it will be nice.
Like
and
I'm gonna
Go swim.
Heard when I walk into this building, probably.
Sizzling.
Mm-hmm.
Sizzling.
Yeah, what about you?
Let's see. We put all our, like, outdoor stuff outside. Like, we hung, like, string lights outside and
Okay.
bulb lights,
You're
and so
creating
then we're
okay.
creating a
Yeah.
vibe out there.
Okay.
And so I, like, sat outside and I made myself some tea and, like, turned on the lights at night, and I'd watch the sunset, and then there's just the lights and me sipping my tea, which I really enjoyed, like, a little romanticizing, ate my dinner out there. That was nice. And then actually I've been going on walks and, like, really paying attention to other people's soft edges and how they're doing their backyards, which just I feel like ties into our other episodes because I think we're trying to
Yes.
curate a cool space out there. And
Yeah.
Josh seasoned our grill, so hopefully we'll be doing some grilling on the Blackstone this week. So I'm excited for that. So
That's exciting.
a lot of, like, summer. And then I laid out by the pool one day this week, which was nice too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Do you guys have a
we have a pool,
like
yeah,
in that community?
in the community. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is super nice. I can just lay out and walk up to the pool.
Having access, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
But like having access to a pool is an amenity that I didn't think about much growing up as a kid, just because we were lake people, so we didn't go to pools, and there weren't many pools around. We had a city pool, but we just didn't go there very often. And then my grandpa had an in-ground pool that we would go and use.
There you go.
So, but like as an adult, I'm like, man, it'd be so nice to have a pool. Like, and I'm actually kind of irritated because the house that we're in right now had a pool, and people that lived in it before us filled it in. So it was like a newer pool because they only lived there for like 4 years.
Okay.
So then, when they bought the house, they filled in the pool, and I'm like, I was actually devastated when I found out that
I just
pool
wouldn't
in
have
my
wanted to know
backyard.
that.
I
Yeah.
know, like if I hadn't known, it wouldn't have bothered me. But
Yep.
now I know
Now you know.
that there's a pool there,
Just waiting.
and I can't use it. And it's like,
It is nice to be like, I can just go up for an hour and
Yep.
it's like no big deal. I can walk up the hill and I'm at the
Right,
pool. I
yeah.
can sit there for an hour and go back to my house.
Yeah. And you don't have to pay for it, right? Because it's
Part of it.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And
Okay, I was
then
gonna say that's
and I don't
part
have
of
to take care of it.
Yes.
Or do the chemicals or clean it
Yes,
or
that's
open
a
it
big
or
part.
do any of that.
See, and
too.
there's the flip side of that coin.
Yeah.
It's like there's
Mhm.
no care or maintenance
Yep.
or whatever. So, but yeah.
So
Yeah.
a lot of backyard stuff and then just kind of figuring out like what I want the front of our house to look like too and what I want to plant outside. So that's been fun.
Yeah.
This has been nice summer.
Well, I love it. Yeah, I was gonna say I love that you got to sit outside because you mentioned that specific activity in our last
I
time.
was very intentional about
Yeah.
this one. So
Yeah, it's very nice.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, well, nice job. Okay, so that I like that challenge actually, just a little, maybe.
Getting us
And-
excited for summer.
Yeah, I just liked that. There's just more things to do during the summer. It just seems like there always is, and I enjoy this time of year.
I know. It's
Yeah.
easy to
It
come
is
up with a summer activity.
Mhm. Yep.
It's like easy to let it fly by and not actually enjoy it
Yes,
because I feel like
Very
time
true.
is moving so fast.
So
Yeah.
fast. What the heck is going
So
on?
it like reminded me I need to actually enjoy the summer because I feel like it'll be over before I know it.
I know.
Which is
I saw a
wild.
post yesterday, and someone on Facebook said, "Hey, by the way, summer's halfway over. Where are the school supplies list?" And I'm like, "What do you mean summer is halfway over?"
Right.
But
Are
it's
you
July.
serious?
Yes, like technically it is.
Mhm.
I mean, I think if you're looking at school calendar wise, it is half over. They've got it.
I know. When do they go back to school? In August sometime? That's insane.
Yep.
It is.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh.
What the
So
heck?
basically, a month from now, a little over a month from now, kids are going back to school.
Yeah. Well, summer break felt so long as a kid. And now
Yes.
I'm like, summer break is nothing.
It's a joke. Yeah,
It's a joke.
Like, yeah,
That's nothing.
yeah. Well, and it sucks because as adults, we don't get that summer break. So for us, it's definitely nothing.
Yeah, that's fair too.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's just another 2 months of working, and it's hot.
Yes. If you don't see the sunlight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, but for this week's topic, we have got we're taking a look at identity and connection. So
Mhm.
basically, identity is basically how we show up in a space. Our personality traits, our beliefs, our values. So like personality traits, values, kind of who we are, like the essence of who we are.
Mhm.
And I just want to name. I think there's a big genetic part of that, right? So like our personality, our temperament, we don't really get to have just a whole lot of
Choice in that. Yep.
yes. But however, I do want to name that on the other side, we do have a lot of choice in how we act and how we behave and how our personality shows up,
Yeah.
if that makes
We can
sense.
learn skills.
We can learn
Mhm.
skills. Yep. We can learn to accommodate. We can learn to adjust. But yeah. And then I think, yeah, just kind of sticking to that side of identity. So, and then I think this might be a part 2
Mhm.
episode where we also look at, how we express ourselves. So, more the physical manifestation of our personality, our appearance, the way we show ourselves to others. That's like maybe more in the physical, tangible sense. So,
Express yourself.
yes. Do we have a starting point where we want? I can talk a little bit about personality. I went through a big personality stint in college. And obviously I won't get into all the research and nitty gritty, but I can just give an overview. Or do we want to start somewhere with like, basic beliefs and behaviors that we see ourselves having, or maybe how we think that stuff impacts.
I
Don't break my
guess
pen.
I'm not gonna break your pen.
Here's fidget with the pen. We like a good fidget.
Yeah.
Where's your
Ooh.
little ring that you keep in here all the time?
I don't know.
Is it gone missing?
It's
I
gone
think it's
miss
desk. I don't even know how that
that's where it
happens.
went.
That's probably
There you
where
go.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen that. That's where it came
I
from.
guess my question is, have you guys always felt like social people? Like, have you always seen yourself as like people who are social, get along, make friends with people easily, like
No.
outgoing humans, I guess is maybe the word I'm looking for.
No. And that's honestly,
No.
and I feel pretty confident about that. So I think I said no very confidently, but now that I'm thinking, I think it's so dependent on who I'm with,
That's
if
fair.
that makes sense.
Okay.
Do I love going out into big social spaces where there's tons of people I don't know and I have to feel this pressure to kind of fit in or look a certain way or act a certain way? No, I don't like that. I don't get energy from other people in my environment.
Okay.
Is it so? However, if I'm there with 2 or 3 people that I really like and I really connect with,
Yeah.
I will absolutely feed off of their energy. But I'm not one to go solo into a group. Like, I'm thinking, for example, like a club
Yeah.
and
Okay.
just, like, leave the club with 10 new friends in tow. I would go to a club and I would sit at my booth or whatever if they offer seating and be like, "I'm sipping my drink and
Yeah.
watching."
Okay. That's totally fair.
Yeah. So, and even if I do go with people, I'm not there to make friends
Okay.
in the sense of like I'm not there to really socialize. I'm there to, I like those people. I'm going with them.
Yeah, because I feel like you like going to big events, but I hear what you're saying of like with my people and like maybe
Yes.
people watching and getting food and having the experience of being in that
Yes.
crowd, but not to like
Yes.
meet new people in the crowd.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I'm there just kind of like a background person and I enjoy being in the background, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
I love, people watching. I like the people that I'm there with, but I'm there with them because one, they probably invited me. Or if I invited them, I knew it was something that they would enjoy. I think a lot about what others will enjoy.
Yeah.
So
You've met a stranger, not a never met a stranger vibe.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Totally fair.
So yeah, and I think I've always been that way. I
Yeah.
think I get more energy. I can get more energy when I'm out doing stuff alone, like, horseback riding.
Okay.
I enjoy just going and putzing around on a horse, and I can be totally alone for 3 hours, and I'm good to go. Like, that
Yeah.
brings me life.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So more introverted.
I would
Okay.
say so.
I think that's complicated because I've always loved humans and loved connection and wanted to have friends and relationships. And I think I was the kid that would daydream very young about like being married and having kids and having a family. Like it was just a part of me from a very young age. And I think I was always pretty nurturing, or my parents just encouraged that part of me. Like, because I had a younger sibling and I'm the oldest. But I think I just experienced so much anxiety. It almost like stunted a part of me that would connect more, where I like
Yeah.
wanted to connect, but as a kid, I was a highly anxious kid, like always worried. And I think a lot of it was social, of like not being accepted or seen, or how do I even show up? How do I connect? Like I struggled a lot to connect. So I think my true nature, very connected and would want to go into like a social situation and connect with strangers and be that kind of person, but I just had to work on that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So like building the confidence to like allow that part of
Mhm.
yourself to come out where like younger you is just nervous and anxious and kids are freaking mean. So that
They
makes
are.
sense too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So always had that part of you, but it just took a little bit for
Yeah.
that part to like fully come into play.
Yeah.
That makes
Always
sense.
very sensitive, and I feel like the bullying piece is there for sure. But like maybe my younger self would have and did talk to strangers and love to like connect and socialize. That's how my mom talks about me. So Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
I think I've always been outgoing and sociable. I actually think the older I get, the less I want to do it, which is really interesting because I think, yeah, before never met a stranger, would talk to people all the time. And I think actually as I'm maturing, maybe it's just more time and spaces, or maybe just not as much energy to do that anymore. Or I don't know.
Okay, so my follow-up question to that, because now I'm curious, is like, do you think it's because you know more about humans overall? Like you've learned enough about humans where like actually there are some people that are okay being strangers? You know what I'm saying? Like, have you adapted to like how you read people? Because I think that's something I forget what, I know it's a heuristic and bias or whatever, but the shortcuts that we take to make assumptions about people,
Yeah.
I am very quick to be like, I'm not interested in actually getting to know you. Like I would say I'm closed off in that manner.
Yeah.
But I'm like curious if you've noticed a shift of like as you've gotten older, is it, you know, are you reading people differently?
Maybe, or I don't know. I'm curious. And I think overall, still a very social person and
Right,
like
right, right,
being
right.
social.
Yep.
But I think some of it is as I've gotten older too, I think people respond differently than I maybe like, and maybe it was because I was in settings more where like everyone was being more social, and maybe it was more socially acceptable to just like spark up a conversation.
Yeah.
But sometimes now I feel like people look at you like you have 10 heads for saying hello or like starting some sort of conversation, which is why we're doing this, right? Because the
Yeah.
connection is changing and looking different.
Yes.
And that's kind of what sparked this whole idea.
Yeah.
So
So you just put the nail on the head, essentially.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've had experiences where I, like, try to spark up a conversation and it's just weird, or the person is like, "Why are you talking?" And I'm like, okay." Like, I didn't mean to, like, cross your boundaries. We're just standing next to each other in line trying to get on an airplane, and I don't think it's weird to talk to each
Right.
other or ask
Yeah.
a question, and people have just responded really strangely to it, and that's not always the case, but I feel like I used to talk. I was the person who sat on the plane and would talk to the person
Person
next
next
to
to
me on
you.
the plane the
Okay.
entire flight.
Yeah.
I haven't probably done that in like 2 years, just
Yeah.
because I don't
Yeah.
even think there's been an opportunity
Yeah.
to. So I've felt kind of myself get a little
Yes.
like, maybe I should like tone it back, or maybe not ask as many questions, or because it doesn't feel good to be rejected or someone like look at you funky or
Right.
strangely
Why are
for
you
trying
talking
to
to
talk
me?
to them.
Yeah.
Which is hard because if someone initiates it, I'm more than happy to like engage in it,
Yeah.
but someone's got to initiate it for those things to happen. So I've been trying to work on too. I think I was talking to my little sister the other day about that, how like both of us are trying to like not be so socially. I'm like, I am getting socially awkward. Like, I'm forgetting how to talk to a stranger or how to like be like, "Hey, how are you?" Like, it is. So her and I were like just joking. We're like, we're gonna try to start talking to people more. And then we ended up at the pool, and there was one other guy there with us, and we said hello and ended up having like a brief, very nice conversation with him. And he was from New York, and we learned a little bit about him, and that was nice. So I think, yeah, it's like shifted a little bit. And then I think too, the older we get, the more we have on our minds, the more we have on our plates. And I think I am more protective of my energy too. Like, I
Yes.
am not going, I was always the support person in my friend group and like, come to me with all your problems and I'll help solve that. I feel like I've always been kind of in that support role. And I think now I value that energy and I keep
Yeah.
it for like you kind of said, like for those I love, those that fill my cup. And I'm not going to like do that with everyone and everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think
Makes
that's
sense.
part of it too. And this job is socially, I get a lot of socialization within the job that we do. So maybe that's part of it too. I'm sure there's like a multitude of things that have
Yeah.
led to that.
Yeah. And like you spoke to environment too, because I feel like I don't know if it's just our area, if it's the South, or if it's just like changing everywhere. But like when I lived in California, people would just talk to people in the table next to you, and it was really common. And here, I feel like we adapt to our environments too, and it
Mm-hmm.
is harder, I think, to like talk to strangers here. People are not as used to it. I wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, and I almost get the opposite because, like, whenever I worked at our previous job and I was out in the community a lot, I would go to a lot of hole in the walls and I would leave there knowing the owner's first name and
Yeah.
what their favorite order. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it almost just depends.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
Well, I was
know,
going to
it
say that
really is
hole in the
very.
wall vibe is so much more intimate and so much
Yes.
more
Yes.
small business. I feel
Right.
like
Right.
that also, like, because
Yep.
when I go to Potchki, yeah, people talk to me every time I'm there.
Mhm.
Someone in line's like, oh my God, I love this book. What do you get? We'll just
Yep.
like be sparking up converse. And in that space, I swear,
Yeah.
every time I go there,
Right.
never met a stranger.
But you
People
go
are-
to a Walmart and it's like everyone's keeping it
yeah.
to themselves.
Yes, for
Yeah.
environment. Yeah, that's a great point. Like a
Mhm.
hole in the wall, small business. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, times, or I'll think like someone's staring at me and I'll and I'll say something and then they'll be like, why did you just say something? I'm like, you were looking at me.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
and we're like in relationship right now. Like we're both
Yes.
just heard that the plane been delayed and you're
Right.
staring at me and I'm like, oh, that really stinks. Like and people will like blank stare at you and not answer. I'm like, look at that. Like you're looking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
I know. Yeah. Yeah. It's weird too because I think people also have kind of forgotten like what looking at someone else prompts.
Yes.
You know, if someone's looking at me,
And like you're real. Like we are
Yes.
both real. I'm
Yes.
not like on your phone.
Right.
I'm not like a simulation. Like
Yeah.
when you're standing, we're both getting on
Yes.
this flight. Like
and by staring at me,
Yeah.
I feel like you're acknowledging my space and my existence. So
Existence,
it's
yeah.
like, okay, hi. Yeah. I want to go back to something you said, Olivia. You're talking about, people initiating it and so that's where I think I'm at a lot. If someone, and I'll initiate every now and then if I've got something that I think I can kind of spin to make funny, like I enjoy making people laugh.
yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll initiate it if I know I can get like a humorous response or if someone will enjoy it. However, if someone initiates it to me, I don't really care how or what they say, as long as it's appropriate, not
Yeah.
rude.
Yes, of course.
But I can then very easily slip into the conversation with them.
Yeah.
So, I'm not always initiating. I'm not always going to be the first one. It's like, hey, whatever. But I do think there's a part of that. I think I am very comfortable talking back to someone.
Yes.
So, for example, if you stood next to me in an airport and you started conversation, I would very easily be okay talking to you, but I don't know that I would always be the one to initiate.
Yeah.
So but yeah. And I think the reason I don't is because I'm like, yeah, I don't know how people are going to respond because nowadays
It's scary.
not many people do want to talk or, and I get it. They're busy. They're living their life. I'm living my life. They've probably got things to do, things on their mind. But then at the same time, it's, if someone talks to me, I'm a yapper. I'll more than likely, yeah, start talking back. So.
We just have so many things that can distract us now.
Mhm.
Where I feel like
That's
before,
so
if
true.
we're all sitting waiting to get on the flight,
Yeah.
there was no distraction. Maybe you're reading the newspaper or your book.
Everyone
or
was raw dogging flights. I mean, seriously.
seriously,
Unless you were sleeping.
you were talking to somebody, or you were sleeping, or you were bored,
Yeah.
senseless, out of your
Yes.
mind.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
and now there's just so many other things to
Yeah.
distract us that we don't need to have
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. And that's sad because we fight the social anxiety by putting ourselves in situations and showing ourselves, oh, we didn't die and maybe it was awkward, but like it is a skill. And now if we're just awkward, we can just go straight on our phones and we can be in that world and not have to like challenge ourselves to connect or to do something out of our comfort zone.
And I've had some really cool conversations, like
Same.
on airplanes,
Yes.
or when a stranger does initiate something and I learn something new. And I do think there is something for me personally energizing about that. I don't think that's the case for everyone. And that's kind of what we're getting at. But
Yeah.
I love those conversations. I love meeting a stranger. And yapping is so entertaining for me. Like talking and like my dream is like a big house party. I don't want to be like at a big event, but I want to be in someone's house and we're all playing games and we're all moving around the house and we're just having random conversations. And like you invite 3 friends and they invite 3 friends and then all the friends, right? So like we all know someone or there's some mutual, but like my friend Alex threw a Christmas party a couple years ago and it was so much fun because I knew like a few people and then it was a bunch of friends of a friends and I just got to meet all these different people and have all these different conversations and just walk around and putz around and just yap all night. And that I love. So very sociable, I guess, in like that sense. I love doing that. That energizes me. I love stuff like that.
One of the things that I enjoy on that is like Galentine's. For whatever reason, I romanticize Galentine's. I think that's so cute. I think it's so fun.
Yes.
And I would love to host a Galentine's one day, like 1 year or something. I need to find the space too, but even if I don't do it at my house, like I would love to just have a Galentine's party. Like I think that would be so fun for that reason.
I know.
Of just everyone coming together and like,
Doing a craft, like doing something stupid, but like fun.
Yep.
I really want to have a Halloween party.
Yes.
That's on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah.
back to the classics, get
Yeah.
back to just having a fun themed event,
Yeah.
Yeah.
getting to dress up or yeah,
Yeah.
love that.
So what part of your personality do you think that is that just kind of the openness, like you enjoy those novel experiences, or is it more of the social piece? I've got hiccups.
You're
Sorry.
fine. You don't need to apologize.
Yeah.
Just to the viewers, and I feel like I'm just very outgoing, and I love main character. I love to be the main character.
Okay.
I just
Yeah.
loved main character
Yeah.
energy. I like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I love humans and I love connecting with others. I really do. Like, and that's a cheesy answer to it, but I just think I'm outgoing. I don't think I actually recharge. I don't know if I'm very extroverted though. Like, I do value time to myself. And I think that is when I recharge.
Yeah.
But being around others is really fun and like being social and just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love yapping.
That makes sense.
I think this might tie into your experience, but as you guys know, I love Carl Jung, and he's the one who created the concept of extroversion and introversion. And the original version is different than the version we have now, which is do you get energy being by yourself or being with others? The way that he first created it is where your energy goes. So you can use the example of being at a house party. And if you're extroverted, your experience of the world is external outside of yourself. So
Oh,
I'm at this house party, and the way I'm connecting is I'm noticing the people around. I'm having these conversations. I'm seeing the party go on. I'm seeing everyone's outfit. And if you're introverted, you're still at the party, but you're experiencing it through your internal view. So through it's somatic, how your body feels to be at this party,
oh,
what your thoughts are on the party, your values of the people you're connecting with. So even actually be in a social situation and be very I'm not talking to anyone, but I'm still extrovert because I'm experiencing it through the outside world versus the inner. It's not about
you.
yeah.
Okay.
And I just thought that was so cool. So when you're explaining it, it almost is you like to experience the world what's through the outside world, through the
Yeah.
experiences of being connected with others, their experiences, being in the moment that way. Yeah, that's my nerd moment because I
That's
love
really
learning about
cool.
that.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh. And I feel like depending on the experience would depend
Mhm.
on if it's internally, somatic, how I'm
Mhm.
feeling, what I'm valuing,
Yeah.
how I feel like this is impacting me.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Jung has it that we aren't just extrovert or introverted. We are both. It just depends on the situation.
Ooh.
So I really like that. There are some situations I'm in and I'm very connected to my inner self and how I'm feeling and how I'm interpreting the moment and my values of what's happening. And then there are others where I can fully be out of myself and I'm fully in the moment of what's happening around me.
Interesting. I feel like when
Mhm.
I'm dysregulated in a social setting, I would be more introverted.
Yeah.
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 I think I think I'm largely introverted, like
Mhm.
in both definitions.
Yeah.
Really? You don't think I feel like you're a big observer though.
Yes, because I'm worried about how others are perceiving me. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
Yes. No, that makes a
So
lot of
so
sense.
I'm yeah,
So
so
goes
I'm
through that.
feeling nervous of how you're perceiving me. So
Yes.
it's,
So
okay,
you're
how do I
tracking me and
I'm
how I'm
tracking
responding
you.
to
Yep,
you.
I'm
Okay.
logging things, so I'm very okay, Olivia, did not smile at my joke and that may have landed wrong. Do I need to address it? Is she gonna, because
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
kind of coming from an internal all right, now what do I need to do to, navigate this situation? But also, I just very much rely on alone time to just process and to be alone and to allow my system to either re-regulate or to
Yeah.
recharge.
Mhm.
So both definitions I think fit me very well as far as introversion. But I enjoy to a degree being extra, like presenting as
Yeah.
extroverted. I don't know if that makes sense.
No,
Like
that
I
makes
don't
sense.
I don't it's
Yeah.
weird. I don't want people to think, "Oh, she's such an introvert." I don't want people to perceive me that way. I want people to perceive me as, she's socially capable. She's not awkward. She's, not
Yeah.
shut
Well,
down
you're a
in the corner.
villager. You just need time to yourself to be a
Yes.
villager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
That makes
enjoy
sense. Yeah.
So
Wonder how it changes the way we rest too. Because if we are fully introverted, just made me think of when some people talk about rest, they're like, I'm watching my favorite show, I'm playing a video game, I'm calling a friend, I'm actively doing I'm actively gardening versus other people who when they're resting, they're like, I'm taking a nap. I'm journaling. I'm literally just sitting and doing nothing, which is like so hard for me. And I wonder if that's a piece too. Of
Yeah.
like
One of my
how we
favorite things to do
recharge.
is sit and do nothing.
Yeah, I was gonna
Like
say, I think
that.
you're good about that. Like just
Yep.
sitting out in the sun, falling asleep in your chair.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I've got a lawn chair out on my back porch where I will go out there and sit and watch the dogs. Like that is what I'm doing. Like I am watching the grass move. I'm watching the dogs run. Yeah, I just very much enjoy because I think my mental brain is always, always going.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
the opportunities that I get to turn it off. And I can be physical.
Yeah, riding a horse is a great
Yep,
example. Yeah.
yep. Or I can plant flowers and mentally I am checked out.
Yeah.
But I'm still, in a sense, doing nothing for my body. So
I know earlier you were talking about more of the personality stuff, which I feel like I don't know much about at all. Of like, what was it, the five? What was that called?
yeah, so there's like the big 5 factor model. And so it's like it's got 5 factors of personality. And obviously there's a what do you call that? An inventory that you can take, and it has like over 300 questions. It's super, super widely researched. It's used a lot for like official assessments. A lot of personality assessments will pull from the big 5. I'm trying to think like the MMPI, that's a Minnesota multiphasic personality inventory.
Okay.
That's what they'll use for a lot of like diagnostic work and stuff. So, there's different kinds of inventories, of course, but for the big 5, the abbreviation is OCEAN.
Yes.
So there's
Okay.
openness to experiences, there's conscientiousness, there's extroversion, there's agreeableness, and then there's neuroticism. And so out of those 5, neuroticism is generally the more negative one. If you're high in neuroticism, fun fact, you're linked to have more like heart disease, things like Crohn's disease, IBS, things that just got because you are generally your personality is generally more negative, more anxious, more worried, more distressed. And so a lot of that will translate over into physical symptoms.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they'll experience higher stress levels, higher cortisol levels, and so it just kind of impacts everything. So, but one of the personality factors that I'd like to talk to you guys about, because I think we all have probably a pretty good degree of it, but is like openness. So how open? So openness is basically how willing are you to hear other perspectives, to adapt and to change your perspectives if new information comes along and you're like, "Oh, okay." And then openness to experiences, so trying new things, right? This is going to be the going on vacations to places you've never been. This is going to be, if you've never rode a roller coaster, how open are you to that experience? This is going to be, if you've never tried escargot, right? And you get the opportunity, are you going to be open? Are you going to be willing to experience that? So picky eaters, this one might not be for you, but it is, always interesting to see because you can be less open in some areas and more open in others.
Yeah.
You might not be willing to try anything other than chicken nuggets, but you'll be willing to go to Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And hear other opinions and whatever.
Yep,
It's just
yep.
food based.
So, but there's generally an overlap. So, if you are more open in general, you can generally take new things and try them and be okay with them. So, and adapt. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think you're more open? Do you guys think you're more open to one or the other or all the above?
Yeah. I feel like I'm more open in the social aspect of like
Okay.
I'm very open to new ideas and new beliefs, and I feel like I don't hold a lot of judgment. Of like you can tell me anything and I'll be interested and I'll
Mhm.
be open-minded enough to like hold that perspective.
Okay.
Sometimes I think I'm too open where I can be easily influenced. So
Okay.
I
Yep.
think it's very high on that aspect. And I love trying new foods, but I feel like I don't really like new experiences. Like they
Yeah.
kind of scare me a little bit at first. So I have to be brave. If it's in a safe category, like I love trying new food, that's a safe category. And I love connecting with humans, but yeah. So I think it depends, but I think I would be definitely very high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you would too.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, there's
Mhm.
probably a few things that I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that.
Right,
Or no,
with
I
all
don't
our
agree
limits.
with that. Like,
Yeah.
I think I might non-negotiables maybe,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, but I think I'm fairly open to all of the above. Yeah. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't scuba dive. I know that's something I like wouldn't do, but which is crazy because I love the ocean, but the whole breathing aspect. So if I like took a course and figured out like, okay, I can do this more than I thought, actually, I probably would. I'd be open to trying the course and then maybe chickening
maybe
out.
open to learning in a controlled environment.
Yep.
And then, Yeah,
Yeah.
translating. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
But there's not much that I, like, wouldn't try. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and food-wise, I feel like growing up just eating a bunch of different foods. I think I've moved a lot, like, I think some of that is maybe the way I was
Raised.
raised, I wonder,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
and I'm sure it's personality too, because I know, like, my little cousins, like, will not try any foods, and both their parents were very
Yep.
picky eater, like, so some of it I do think is probably, like, nature versus nurture, but
Mhm.
I feel like
I totally agree.
but we grew up traveling,
Yep.
we grew up moving, we grew up trying new foods and
Yep.
different things all the time, or at least having the option to
Mhm.
do so. So I think, yeah, it's just like par for the course. It's just easy.
Yes.
I've always done that. That's because I think it's harder when like you get older and it's like, well, I've never been on,
Yep.
like so many aspects are new.
Yes. Yes.
Where I feel like once you hit a certain point that you've tried so many new things or had so many new experiences, it's not as scary because you're like, oh, well, I've done that
Done
before, or
something
maybe I've
else.
done like part of that or something
Yes.
similar. So I think that helps with openness. And then I think also with moving and seeing the world, you also get exposed to different cultures and different opinions. And you just realize there's so much outside of me and my bubble and my space and where I lived and how I grew up. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's no way to know who's right and who's wrong and what's true and what's not.
Right.
Like, and so I think you see that too. Like, as you try new things and meet new people and have new experiences, you're like, well, everywhere and everything is so different. So who's to say what is right and wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's still important to value things and have your non negotiables and what
Right.
makes you you. But
Right.
I think that allows you to have more openness to that. Like, there's just so
Yes.
much diversity and so much culture and so many differences.
Yes. Well, and I think it's good to name that, like, psychologically, you do want to be confident and secure in your identity and who you
Yep.
are,
Hmm.
but you can do that. And, it's not a but
Yep.
or, it's a you can be secure and confident in your identity and be open to new perspectives. And it does not mean you have to change. Right. So well, the people that I work with, one of the things that I say in one of my groups is just because you accept something as a reality does not mean that you agree with it. And it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that you have to change to fit it. Acceptance, is just acknowledging it essentially and saying, hey, this is real. This is happening, right? Like 9/11. That was a very real event. And, just because you accept it happened doesn't mean you agree with it. Right. And
Mhm.
you don't have to change anything really to accept,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and obviously, I think that depending on your definition of acceptance and what that encompasses can
Mhm.
vary, but, and something that I'll name too that I don't know if there's any actual research to back this up. I should have looked it up, but I think something that's interesting is I think therapists probably generally score higher in
Yeah.
openness than, maybe some of the general population. And again, I don't know, that it is pure speculation. Don't quote me, but I think there's probably some reality to that
Well,
because it's our job.
yeah, and in any field that I feel like you're being very social or you're in a helping profession,
Yeah.
you have to be pretty open because
Yes.
again, you're going to be having experiences with so much diversity and so many
Yes.
different types of people and that if you are very like structured and closed off and not adaptable, then you would really I mean, you would hate your life in a
Yes.
Mhm.
helping profession in a social field.
Yes.
Like there's no
Totally
way.
agree. Would hate
It
your
would be
life.
misery.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
misery.
Yeah. If you can accommodate someone else's beliefs and hold them next to your own and realize I don't have to let this change me. Yeah. That would
Just
Yeah.
fit
be
in.
terrible
Yeah.
and miserable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you couldn't be rigid. You would have to be
Mhm.
flexible. There's no way.
Yeah.
Everything is so
Yeah.
right. But again, that's our beliefs and the
Yes.
ways that we view and look at things too. So,
Right.
or my beliefs, not to speak for you all,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, and I think openness and extroversion, when I think of connection, those are probably the big two. I mean, really personality factors that I think of just because when they go hand in hand, that and agreeableness. So
yeah,
agreeableness is exactly what it sounds like. How, how agreeable are you as a person? Right. And typically if you score high in openness, you kind of have to score high in agreeableness just because if you're open to new experiences and stuff, you're open to new perspectives. If you're an agreeable person, you're not bucking up against everyone
yeah,
any chance you get.
yeah.
So,
And I also think if you agree with someone else, it doesn't mean that you reject your beliefs
Right.
or
Mhm.
your values or what you
Yeah.
think, but you could say, "Oh, I agree. That makes sense that you believe that." Or,
Mhm.
"Wow, okay,
Yeah.
like I learned something new. I agree with what you're saying. I understand with what you're saying.
Mm.
That does not mean I'm going to reject everything I believe or
Right.
value."
Right.
Like, and I think
Right.
that gets confusing for people too. But like, we
Yes.
can agree with someone else's opinions and beliefs and not reject all of our own opinions and
Yes.
beliefs. That this both can live in the same space.
Yes. And I think going off of that, and this may be kind of where you're getting to, is you can agree to one thing and disagree with everything else.
Yep.
And as long as you let that person know, hey, I hear you on this and I agree with you on that, that's going to mean so much to that person.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean you suddenly agree with manslaughter, or
Yes.
child murder, or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
But if you can find one thing and it's small and it's,
Mhm.
but what a powerful point of connection for, for someone to hear, someone who maybe struggles with connecting with others, for you to say to them, I agree with you on that. Maybe not everything else, but that I do agree with you. And, I don't know. I feel like that's a really cool way to connect with others and to just show others that you hear them and see them.
Yeah, because I feel like when people have those strong opinions, they're often very protective and have those
Mhm.
walls up too,
Yeah.
to protect their values, especially if
Mhm.
someone has super strong values. That's just a nice way to just break them down of like, you can have strong values that are very different than me, but I still like see that you're human and you have these opinions for a reason. Like we
Right.
all have reasons that we believe what we believe. It's deeper than just like it's black and white. I believe
Mhm.
this or this. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
seeing them as a human. Yeah. Your
Yeah.
experience of being a human is way different than mine. But I
Right.
still see you as a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good
Reminds
point.
me of
Yeah.
politics. I feel
Yeah.
like it's like that would be a great place to use that too, because
Mhm.
it's become so divisive. But at the end of the day, like everyone's just trying to survive in the way that they feel like is best for themselves and the world around them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You look like you were going to say something.
Agreeableness.
Yes.
So that is just like, I don't stir the pot.
Yeah, it's in here. I'll pull it up just so that way
Okay.
you have it good.
Uh,
But it's
Sometimes
basically,
definitions are helpful, but
yeah,
You got thoughts on that one?
I'm just curious about it because I think it would be just an interesting conversation of like,
yeah. So it's compassion, cooperativeness, and a fundamental concern for social harmony.
oh,
So
okay,
highly
that's
agreeable
helpful.
individuals are typically empathetic, trusting, eager to help others, often placing the needs of the community before their own. So yeah, so it's not
Helpers.
even
Okay.
yes. So it's
Okay.
not
I
even
got it
really
now.
that you agree with people. It's more so that you're cooperating with others and your compassion and you have that kind of concern, like I just want harmony between
Yeah. And
us.
I can work in a team and I can
Mhm.
cooperate with others rather than like, I prefer
Yes.
to work individually
Yes.
or alone. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Whereas, someone who's consistently disagreeable, you're probably not going to want to be around them very much because they do kind of push themselves away or they're not really concerned about that harmony between you
Yep.
guys. Like they're, kind of bucking up
They're
whenever.
doing their
So,
own thing.
Yeah.
yep.
I wonder as a person, like, if they struggle to see themselves as like a puzzle piece within a big picture. Because I hear like the social harmony piece, like I'm just curious of the why. When I heard this, like specifically with my husband, when I'm comfortable with someone, I want to understand the why and get a lot of information, and it's hard for me to just say yes very easily. But then,
Yep. Same.
yeah. But then when I hear that, I'm like, I think I am really agreeable. Maybe there's just another piece of like, but I also want to know the why. It's very
Yes.
important, and I want to know the detail. You're the same, okay?
Well, yes, and the experience that I'm thinking of is, my husband will say, "I'm gonna do this," and he doesn't offer an explanation. And my brain, I can accept that he's gonna do that, but I'm curious as to why. Like what, how did he arrive to that decision? And I think sometimes he takes it as I'm going against him or I'm like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, there's gonna be a better way," or, "Well, tell me how you got that." But really for me, it's, my brain likes understanding that process.
Yeah.
Okay, what went into that decision for you? How did you get there? And he doesn't always appreciate that. And so I've had to work on that of just
Mhm.
being, just saying, yep, okay, good choice or whatever. Like you don't have to tell me anything because he doesn't. But also, I really appreciate it when he does, And I know not everything in life needs an explanation, but my brain
Those the
really,
details.
yes, really
Mhm.
enjoys having the pieces.
Yeah.
So in the
I want to
process.
understand why you're
Yeah.
doing what you're doing.
Hmm.
That doesn't
Yep.
make sense.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a part of the big five. Like the importance of data, of details, of because there's some people who are like, keep things simple. Why do you have to? I love the details to the point where I can be redundant.
I
for
would say that's
sure.
probably a little neurotic.
I am
Like,
definitely
just
love it.
kind of that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of like control. I feel like there's a piece there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another big part of agreeableness that I thought was pretty interesting is altruism. So people, they derive that joy and fulfillment from helping those in need. So
Yeah.
it's really just pro-social people,
Yep.
people who really value, and I think that's going to be a huge part of connection, right? If you're an agreeable person, you are going to probably connect like crazy.
I was going to say that's probably one of the bigger
Yep.
indicators that you are more social.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, like, on the flip end, people who are not as agreeable, I feel like they connect in a way of like they find their bubble, their group that is agreeable with them.
Ooh, yes.
And then that is how they connect versus, and then I think that goes to openness too. I don't want to have new experiences because then I'm going to meet people who disagree with me or I'm not going to be able to get along with because I am maybe going to buck up more and just not have the openness or the ability. So I feel like all that kind of ties together. So in terms of connection, like I tend to think of people who are less open and maybe more like set in their ways. They like have their group and I'm making a sweeping generalization, but they tend not to stray from the group. And then I feel like socially, they're very uncomfortable, very awkward, if not more irritable and rude in situations where they're not in the comfort zone of their group, their set group. Because I think you can be very sociable within a group, but not sociable outside of your group too, right? Like I have this big friend group and this friend group gets together and we do everything together and we all believe the same thing and we all, and whatever. And there's comfort in that for some people too, of just like, these are my friends. Yeah.
I'm thinking about the people that, yes, like you said, they might have one or two people that they get along with or they click enough with where they're like, yeah, that's my friend. And maybe that's their lifelong, like that's their people, their 2 or 3 friends that they have. But then when they're out in public, they are irritable. They are rude. They don't care about, they're not going to be pro-social. They're not going to care about helping others.
No.
They're going to live more of the mind frame of, how can I benefit myself? Which, again, do we all need some of that? Yes, because self-preservation, right? We all want to be successful to some degree. And obviously that looks different per person, but those who are extremely disagreeable, they're going to think everyone is out to get them. They're going to think, I think these people are going to be the ones that struggle to accept responsibility, right? It's someone else's fault that I failed or someone else's fault that, this happened to me. And they're not going to be very altruistic, cooperative with others.
Yeah.
So,
and like on either side, it's like the human's goal to find satisfaction in life. So maybe as a human, you're like, satisfaction comes from the comfort of the patterns of my own being, of my brain. So when I connect with people who are on the same wavelength, that's comforting. But I think for others, like the new experiences, hearing new perspectives, having your brain expand, that's satisfaction. And neither one is right or wrong. Like I think an example I use a lot is as a human, I love to connect. I love to be social, love to have new experiences. And I'm very altruistic. But my husband's the total opposite. Like he does not value connection like I do or supporting and helping the world like I do. And that's okay. Like
I don't know. I'd almost say no.
Okay.
And that's a really bold statement as someone who doesn't know your husband like what you do. But I think it manifests differently.
Yeah. Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Because
It does make
I do
sense.
see your husband valuing connection quite a bit, actually. But I think it's different, right?
Okay.
Is he altruistic? Like, is he constantly serving those in need? Maybe not. But something tells me if one of his buddies needed help, he would, immediately. Like, it would not matter what was in it for him.
Yeah. That's a great
Okay, but I want
point.
to because I was thinking about that as you said. I think that comes down to like values, and this is me getting like far, so we can wheel it back in. But like, as I think about my sister too, and I don't think she's as altruistic or social. Well, she's going to be a teacher. I mean, she's incredible. She cares about people in Harvard.
Right. You're saying that,
But I don't think she's like someone who is going to like try to connect with everyone and support everyone in whatever space she's in, which I feel like you're similar. But she really values having like a core friend group.
Yes.
And I feel like
That's how
your
that's what it
husband
is.
like
Yeah.
values his core friend group, where I've never really had a core friend group. I've had a lot of friends in a lot of different places, doing a lot of different things and all over the place, and make friends everywhere I go kind of vibe. Where my sister, probably not as much, but she has a like strong core friend group that she
Cool
truly
connection.
values and values that connection. And I always think that's kind of interesting too. Sometimes I wonder if people who are more open and more agreeable tend to have a ton of friends, but not this like honed in
Maybe.
core friend group.
Yes.
Because you're like pouring into everyone and you're doing all these new things and you're kind of all over the place, where I think value wise, that does sacrifice the value of like, I am going to build this friend group and I'm going to stay in this friend group and be with these people and pour into this place rather than kind of pouring my cup all over the place.
Yeah. And something that I just want to name too is, kind of where, and this is kind of getting to the nitty gritties, and we won't have this answer unless we all did the assessment or the inventory. Which I'd be kind of interested to see your spouse's results and your all's. But something that I just want to point out is, you could score 99 out of 100 on agreeableness, and your husband could score an 80 out of 100 on agreeableness, and you guys are both still high. Like, average is
that's a great
50,
point,
right?
too. Yeah.
And so, that's where, again, how does it manifest, right? How do we show agreeableness? Are we altruistic to everyone, or are we altruistic to those people that we do hold near and dear to?
Yes.
And so it doesn't mean that, all right, well, Taylor's very disagreeable. It's just different, right?
Is such a good point, because like I think that both of what you guys both said makes so much sense, because like military was important. That's a small group where you pour your focus and attention to that. So I don't think it's that he doesn't want to connect. He just connects way different than I do.
Yeah.
So
And like
thank you.
probably once
Challenging me.
all those friends to like my sister, like her friend group, she is the one keeping all the harmony and making sure everyone's getting along and doing their thing. Where I feel like when I think of harmony, I think about it like on a grander scale, and maybe even on the lower levels, I could actually care less about that. I'm like, oh, if you guys are gonna argue, which is just funny.
Yeah. And I think something else too, just, maybe one final thought on that is macro versus micro.
Yeah.
You can be a 100 on agreeableness and it be a macro, or you can be 100 on agreeableness and it be micro. Right?
Yeah.
That doesn't really impact where you fall on that scale. Yeah.
So I think it just comes down to like qualities and values.
It does. Yeah.
Too. And that's part of our identity. So like if my identity is really wrapped up in my friend group, like my people, my friends, like my close proximity, versus my identity is really wrapped up in like the impact I have on the world or my community, that's going to make you respond differently and have different experiences in terms of connection, which is just, that was like a cool thought. I enjoyed that.
That was so fun.
That tangent.
So I'm excited to like hone in on like how we express those pieces of personality physically in our next episode. I think that's gonna be super fun.
Yes.
Like, I wonder if there'll be some connections to
Yeah.
extroversion, introversion, and like how we style ourselves and do our hair, makeup, all the fun things.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great.
That will be. So, kind of on that note, gosh, I'm really tempted to make our challenge like to do a personality inventory, like a solid one.
Okay.
But I don't know.
That could be one of the options if people have access to it.
Yeah. So, like the IPIP, it's IPIPNEO. That is the online version of the Big Five personality
It's a little
inventory.
bit shorter than the 300 questions.
You can pick which one. Yeah. So there's like a short one and then there's a long one. Obviously, the long one's going to really dig in and really give you probably your most will give you your most active.
Yeah.
But the 60, I think it's 60 questions. It might be longer than that. It might be like 100.
Okay.
But the shorter one still gives you a good enough ranking where you're like, okay, I
I
can
see
this. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but I don't, is there a different challenge that you guys can think of?
I like that for us.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I was gonna say for us it would be fun.
Our results.
Yeah.
So maybe if people have access to it, they can do it with us, and if not, maybe we can have like a
and maybe what I can do is I can link that website
if you're curious about it.
Yep. Yeah. So because it's free, it doesn't cost anything. You get your free results and stuff, and I'll double check to make sure that hasn't changed.
Yes, that's fair.
But even if you do like a Myers-Briggs type indicator, I know that's more for careers and stuff, right? I think that kind of gives you
Think
more
so.
leaning toward what you do in careers, but just some kind of like free person. There's all kinds of, but and you can generally research if one's
Yeah.
solid or not. But yeah,
Yeah.
iPoopania
Get
is my
curious about
favorite.
yourself, though. I mean, even
Yes,
if you
yeah.
take like a silly, like,
Those
what
be-
house would I be in for the like Harry Potter? Like
Yes,
just
yes.
silly stuff. Like just get
Yes.
curious about your personality and your identity and the way
Yep.
that maybe that shows up in relationships. Because I
Yes.
do think there's
I
something
like
to
that.
that. Like our personalities really do impact the way we connect.
Yeah.
And every personality has a role in the friend group and in the social setting. And we could have a bunch of outgoing people in one space. It would be hectic and terrible
Yes.
and scary
Yeah.
and crazy. So, as much as we talked a lot about openness and outgoingness and
Yes.
agreeableness, like everything has its place and its purpose. And
balance.
yep.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we also can't have everybody agreeing with everyone. We need someone to speak up and be like, that doesn't really make sense to me. Or can you
Yes,
explain to me why you're saying that? Or
Yeah.
I don't agree with you, right? Like we need some of that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So
those are
I
all
like that.
important
So
pieces.
just kind of get curious about your personality.
Yeah.
Get curious about, how that shows up in relationships and your connections.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
All right. So that'll be this week's challenge. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next episode.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Stay
guys.
connected. Bye, guys.